Do you have a Grogu? Is his tunic fraying? Is he vulnerable to blaster rays? Then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Mariko and today I'm going to be making my Grogu a beskar chainmail shirt and replacing his ratty tunic. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my very first video. You can expect to see a lot of my knitting and sewing projects over time. I will also be covering my process and also tips and tricks and lessons learned as I draw from my webcomic, The Unicorn Hoax, which you can find on Instagram and TikTok. Lastly, I hope to be able to share some of my techniques to help you do hard things. When I worked in corporate, I was a project turned product manager, so I know a thing or two about trying to get difficult projects through the door. Anyway, enough shop talk, let's get started on Grogu's outfit. I recently caught up with the Book of Boba Fett and realized my Grogu, which I purchased at Target a while back, wasn't fully geared up. So I headed over to my local yarn store and got some gray yarn with a slight metallic sheen to knit Grogu's chainmail top. I used Shibui Knits Koan Yarn, which is a linen silk blend fingering yarn. I don't know if I said that right, please don't come for me in my DMs. If you're a Mandalorian, unlike me, you should use beskar instead. These are swatches of the fabric I bought for Grogu's tunic from Big Z Fabrics in LA. This is a taupe microfiber suede that I used for the main fabric. The underside is matte and not fuzzy. Big Z Fabrics calls this colorway camel. I used this polar fleece sweatshirt fabric on the sleeve hems and collar. It's a slightly lighter taupe compared to the suede. The right side of the fabric is knitted jersey, but I used the wrong side, i.e. the fuzzy side, instead. Cue the knitting montage. I started off by making a swatch in Armour stitch, which I learned from a YouTube video by Ruby Stedman. The swatch was knitted flat because the chainmail top will also be knitted flat and sewn together at the end. Here's my completed swatch. On the right side you get these loops which look like chainmail links. The wrong side looks like this. This is a simple knit one through back loop, purl one pattern, but the chainmail look is achieved by using 2 needles of different sizes. At this point I had my stitch gauge, so I took as many body measurements as I could. With my gauge and Grogu's measurements, I casted on my project with 2 extra selvage stitches. I began by knitting the front of the top bottom up. This is the front of the top below the sleeves. It measured about 5 inches, just under Grogu's arm to quote-unquote feet measurement. Using the cable cast on, I cast on additional stitches for the sleeves. I chose the cable cast on over backwards loop because I wasn't sure how unstable the latter would be when knitting in Armour stitch. At this point, I did a quick fit check to see how many additional rows I needed to knit before I could start forming the neckline. I cast off several stitches in the middle of a row, and then decreased stitches in subsequent rows to form the neckline here. I needed to do another fit check, but Grogu's ready to wear tunic wasn't removable. So, hi tunic, meet my trusty seam ripper. Here I finished knitting the neck hole with a slit in the back. Pardon these risque shots as I squeeze naked Grogu into the top to ensure that the neck hole is big enough. I've skipped ahead to casting off, having finished the back torso. Yeah, I was also worried about how wonky it looked. Thankfully, blocking always cures all my tensioning issues. I used a tape measure to ensure I was blocking the chainmail top to Grogu's measurements, plus a little bit extra for ease. FYI, the Armour stitch does produce a slightly stretchy fabric, so you don't really need that much ease. This is how it looked after blocking, much better. I'm using a mattress stitch and a blunt tapestry needle to sew the sides together. I love the slight shine this top has. I thought this yarn might have been a little too extra for my project, but it turned out pretty well. I might add elastic to the neckline to stop it from stretching out in the future, but for now, I just added ties. The next phase of my project was to remake Grogu's tunic. I decided to take the original one apart and trace the pieces. I made modifications to the tunic, added more ease in the torso and sleeves, removed the collar's center seam and the sleeve detail. After giving the tunic pieces a good press with my iron, I traced the pieces onto paper, made my modifications and increased the seam allowance. I didn't want the pleat in the back and wouldn't need it anyway after increasing the ease in the torso. Grogu's tunic on the show is left raw and as is. However, microfiber suede frays very easily, so I will be folding over the hem twice. I finished the pattern pieces and started cutting out my fabric pieces. Then I started putting the tunic together. Another quick fit check. The sleeves were too long after increasing ease in the torso, so I had to shorten them here. My machine couldn't sew through all the layers of fabric where the placket meets the body, so I cut out some of the bulk and sealed the raw edges with fray check. Seriously, this fabric frays like a mother. I wasn't sure if I got the shape of the collar right, so I quickly pinned it onto the tunic to see how it looked. I measured the neckline on the tunic to shorten the collar length. I also took off some of the collar width at the center back. I liked how these changes looked, so I decided to go ahead and sew down the collar. In this shot, the collar has been flipped right sides out and given a good press. Yet another fit check to make sure it all looked good before sewing in some snaps. Be sure to have as much wine as you need to get through all the hand sewing if you hate it as much as I do. And here is the finished tunic. This is so much closer to the real thing. I'm really glad I did this. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a thumbs up below. And lastly, please subscribe to my channel so that you can be kept up to date for any future videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.